The game is finally out. Sortex stuff launched about 8-9 hours ago, whatever it was. So let's talk a little bit about mages and what is the best build you currently can be running with the mage. We're going to be talking about specifically for both AoE and single target. Before we go into this, hello the internet, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Today's topic, the best build for mage you can be running early on. Now, first, couple things. There is a few codes you guys can get already. They are on the website if you guys want them. Okay, so just go to the website, go to the codes page on top, and then you can just get all the codes in there. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if you are stuck, the game does a good job at telling you what are good builds. The AoE damage and the single target damage. It's not fantastic. For example, I wouldn't be running a support build, but they do work. These two ones are great, and they also are telling you more or less why they are good. For example, the single target build is telling you that both Wind Light and Tempest Sphere are dealing really good damage because they are progging extra charm damage. They don't tell you it's because of this unstable aura procs, but still that's the reason, right? Like why it's a really good single target build. And the same thing applies for your Flame Jet. Now, are they perfect? No. Could you be changing things? Yes. For example, personally, I would not be running the Elemental Mystery Charm at the moment. It is an extra elemental damage. I just found that there is not enough slots to be running all of the good charms. And then when it comes to the single target build instead, for example, I would still, for the AoE damage, I would still be running Winds the Light over, for example, something like Fireball. Winds the Light damage is really strong. But these two builds do work as a general rule of thumb on how you can, on what you can be running, right? Now, I'm gonna show you guys my build and what I've been running personally, and what you can change depending on what you have. So, the main damage for any early build, if you have it for mages, are going to be Water Assault. This is going to be your main damage dealing until we switch classes, like literally until we switch to the next classes. This is going to be your main AoE damage skill, and even when you unlock the Sorcerer, it's still a great skill. This spell, Water Assault, only gets better if you have Water to Ice, because it's going to be dealing extra damage, or there is a 50% chance, right, of dealing extra damage and condensation, which also has some 30% base chance of inflicting Frozen. And you are getting multiple hits anytime with your Water Assault, so there is multiple chances to be proccing this, right? So Water to Ice and Water Assault is the best combination early on for any mage. The other skills that are fantastic, and the second best skill to me so far in terms of damage, is going to be between Winds the Light, which is doing fantastic damage thanks to the AoE, and even for single target, it's doing pretty good. Even if this deals less damage for each subsequent hit, doesn't matter, it's still fantastic damage. For both AoE and single target, is really good. It's gonna be between this Wind the Light or between Blazing Fire Ring. This is also really good fire damage early on. Obviously, you need to get close to the enemy, which is a little bit of iffy because mages are super squishy, and that's the biggest problem we have right now, that even if I can compete with big wells on damage, I cannot survive as long as they have because there is no lifesteal. And we are not running Gale Shield, we'll talk about it in a second. But those are the best skills for damage right now. It's going to be Water Assault, it's going to be Winds the Light, and then depends on what you get dupes for. So far, Cyclone has been working well for me. The reason Cyclone is working for me is because I'm pulling enemies towards me, and also I'm using Flaming Path. This means I can pull them directly on the Flaming Path. If there is a warrior with the skill to pull enemies, they will pull them on the fire as well, and they will be getting extra damage consistently. That's what I like Cyclone, and that's what I've been using it. So this is a AoE build that's also doing pretty good on single target damage. I do not switch my build right now. This is what I've been using. I was switching earlier when I was doing single target instead of Cyclone towards a Flame Jet, or sometimes just towards the Tempest Sphere, because you can proc a lot of the unstable aura. I would not recommend going support right now. Healing Touch is not good enough. It's a 2.4% healing power, which is not great. And then we're talking about also, if you want to be a support, running a Stonechief Summon is one of the worst summons in the game. This is a really bad summon. No damage unless you are an Omega Well. Not worth it. And the Void Blessing, it's a good skill. Max HP benefits everyone. This is a good skill. The problem is that This is mostly for sages later rather than early on. But assuming you don't have all the skills, you could still be running this instead of a different skill. Like Void Blessing is a great skill. It's some extra support you can get onto your team. It's a 12% max HP, and also it's gonna be healing if the target is below 30% HP. So it's a pretty good buff that you're gonna be getting at the beginning of the battle and also every 2 turns with the cooldown. I do like it, but I don't think it's necessary at the moment unless you are really struggling on the dungeons, or if you cannot find anyone to be doing the hard difficulty at the moment, because that I can see happening, right? When you guys tomorrow unlock the 36k dungeon, it's gonna be hard. In that case, running a support is something that can be happening already, and as we unlock harder dungeons, it's only gonna keep happening. So that's for the spells, that's what I will be using. I don't really use Iron Thorn. It's not a bad skill. It allows to slow the enemies or immobilize them, which in turn, if you have Flame Path or if you want to recover HP with your Void Blessing or even Healing Touch if you want it can help, but I feel like the damage is not there. It's not a bad skill, however. I think it can be used. Fireball has been also providing really good damage. I was running a pure fire build early on with Flame Jet, Blazing Fire Ring, Fireball, and Water Assault. And then I was running just purely Flaming Path and also increasing my Heart of Flame for the fire affinity. So I was running a pure fire build and it was doing pretty good damage. It does work. I don't think the Elemental Mastery is as good, but it can be used. But let's talk about charms and which ones I prefer to use. First of all, useless, Curse Resonance. We do not have ailments or debuff right now enough where these would be worth to run, right? That's the first one. The second is Tough Soul, is useless. You don't care about your HP. This is good for a healer later on, but not right now. Elemental Body, which is the elemental resistance, is not as good as just running more damage, at least right now on the current enemies we have. When it comes to Wind Affinity, Water Affinity, and also Fire Affinity, they are useful depending on your setup. If I have double Wind skill, and I'm running Unstable Aura, I could be running Wind Affinity with Wind Whisper, and it's a great skill, but it depends on your build, right? My favorites are Water to Ice to be paired with Water Assault. If you don't have it, it's fine to remove it. Unstable Aura, because it procs with any technique, not only with wind technique, so this is just more damage consistently, and when you knock them back you can even deal them more damage, so this is pretty good. I like Unstable Aura a lot, and even they recommend him on like all of the builds, on both the single target and AoE, it's in both on there, and even on the beginner's pick it's there too, right? So Unstable Aura is a safe pick. Water to Ice, it's only if you have Water Assault, if not you can remove it. And then the best charm you can get early on for a mage, Mana Surge. This is the only consistent and pretty big source of crit rate early on. 16% plus a flat amount based on the skill level. This is really good. If you get it, it's the best charm at this stage with Unstable Aura. The crit rate is nice because if you compare it with Warriors right now have like a 30-something%. Because they have this skill with Boiling Bloodlust, and it gives them a 40% crit rate plus crit damage. As a mage, you don't have anything like that, so this is the only good source for you of crit rate, right? That is the best charm in my opinion, both Unstable Aura and Mana Surge. Now, if you don't have Water Assault, or if you haven't gotten yet Mana Surge, or if you do not like Flaming Path, because there is a lot of RNG for Flaming Path to be doing damage, you could be running Gale Shield. The mage biggest problem is that it's squishy, you die to anything, right? So the best solution is to have some defensive shield that will actually prevent you from getting killed on the first turn. So Gale Shield is pretty good. I've not been running it because at the moment we've been having custom parties of 4 where we have enough damage to not die too early, right? So to me, it's not been as useful so far, but it's one of the best skills for now for the mage, because if you're doing campaign, if you're exploring the map, it's one of the best skills. You need that. For campaign, I would rather have the Gale Shield than almost any of these charms because it's helping you get the extra survivability. That said, though, that's basically everything for my favorite techniques and charms right now and what you guys can run. This is the build I've been running, so take it as a reference and change it based on what gear you guys are getting. And if you don't mind spending $1, which is the only thing I recommend buying in this game, honestly, I would suggest you guys buy the starter pack because it's going to be carrying you with this weapon. They give you an SSR weapon at level 40 with 4.8 combat power. Really good weapon, so if you guys can get it, I will say it's worth it, but not necessary by any means. We'll make a spender's guide tomorrow for light spenders, because this game, the moment you start spending, it can get really crazy really fast. So we'll make it for light spenders to see what are the best bugs for you guys to get. That's it, enough japping, enough ranting. We are live every single day. We'll be live tomorrow playing the game more. As usual, links in the description down below. Good luck with your build, and I'll see you in the next one.